Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ship Sports Report, where today we are going to be interviewing two Raider student athletes who are involved not only in their sport, but they're also involved in Shippensburg University ROTC. I am Bill Morgul, the Sports Information Director, and our first guest today is Mason Koeth, a member of the SU swim team. Mason, thank you so much for taking time to join us.
No problem. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
First, I want to ask you briefly how you got to Shippensburg. You're from Germany. That's where you grew up.
Yeah.
How do you arrive first from Germany to get to Shippensburg?
Well, it was definitely a process. It didn't just jump out of the blue. We were looking for colleges to both swim and do ROTC at, and Shippensburg just came up as an option that balanced both really well. And as I came here, I realized that was a really good choice to make. The cadre and the coaches here have been extremely supportive, and I'm really grateful about that. And I've been able to do a lot with both ROTC and swimming because of that.
Now, first, from a sport standpoint, swimming, it's an intense sport to have to participate in, but I imagine that it's been something that you've done at least for a fair bit of your life.
Yeah.
How'd you first get into swimming, and maybe not only that, but what motivates you to, or what do you like about the sport that's kept you wanting to continue swimming?
Yeah. Well, swimming's just been a big part of my life. I've been doing it since I've been a baby, and I've just been doing it as a kid and now here in college. So it's something I just enjoy doing, especially having teammates and coaches giving positive feedback and supporting me. That definitely helps me keep going through it.
Is there any specific aspect about the sport, like when you're in the pool, that like, is it certain races that really get you motivated, or is it just more that it's almost become more a routine in life now, and you've just really enjoyed that aspect of routine?
It might have been the routine, yeah, definitely. I just love being in the water, being able to swim. It's just, again, something I've been doing my whole life, and I plan to keep on doing it, hopefully.
So now, at the same token as well, we mentioned that you're in ROTC here at Shippensburg. When you're looking for colleges, you're looking for a place that you can do both, as you said. Yeah. When you're in Germany, whether it's from growing up on the Army base or another aspect, what originally got you into wanting to pursue ROTC?
Well, I think growing up, going to school surrounded by that military culture and seeing service members, even just going down to the PX and getting lunch or something, that definitely helped encourage me to go and, serve my country. It's always been something I want to do, and being able to get a bachelor's degree while also preparing to serve in the Army as a second lieutenant is something that it was just a really good deal for me.
Maybe what aspect, you mentioned swimming, it's a little bit of routine. Yeah. Obviously, there's a very regimented routine in ROTC as well, but what aspects of ROTC do you enjoy? You mentioned serving your country as well, but is it a structure? Is it some of the duties that you do? What is it that allures you to it?
It's probably all of that, honestly. And one thing that strikes out to me as some key factor, I think, would be the leadership and discipline that you get out of it. I think that anyone, regardless of whatever career path they might choose, would do really well in ROTC if they just want to better themselves as a person and, most importantly, a leader. It's just, again, similar to swimming. It's been something that I've enjoyed doing, and, I'm excited to be a part of the battalion here at SHIP.
And I would imagine, too, one other aspect when you're in ROTC, as you said, can even just be a sort of a base desire or motivation that one might have, but there's a lot of different avenues and directions possibly, too, that you can go, whether it's specifically in the force or into the military or, behind the scenes, offshoots, all different directions. Is that another thing, too, that for those that may be considering ROTC, that's you get your base down, and that helps you learn and grow, but that also it doesn't necessarily trap you into a specific direction. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. One thing to know about the Army is that it is the biggest branch in the military. It has a bunch of career options. You can go, for instance, you can go infantry, and then some other person might be doing something totally different, working in office 24/7 in finance or something. It's definitely really varied. And for instance, I'm a computer science major, and personally, I'm looking to do cyber. It's not anything really infantry, shooting guns, but it's still something I'm really looking forward to do.
And this is a case too where and you even mentioned your major, like you said, you're able to get more experience in all three of those aspects with computer science, ROTC, and with swimming. Of all of that, it's probably a heavy lift to have to balance all of that. I know, you know, Verge will have you there really early in the morning because that's when your lift is scheduled for earlier in the morning with strength and conditioning. You'll have afternoon practices. You've got your ROTC missions. You've got your class schedules. How do you, in the best way that you can, try to just make sure that you're organized on top of things because there's a lot of different places that you have to be at a given time?
Yeah, well, I think it all comes down to time management. You just have to plan on what time you have, or making time maybe, and you just have to see what you have to do, when you have to do it, and when you're able to do it, most importantly. Again, something I mentioned before, that the coaches and cadre are extremely supportive. They've also been really flexible in allowing me to maybe skip this morning PT so I can go to swim practice, or maybe vice versa. For instance, on Thursday we have our labs, and coach, he knows about this, and of course I come to swim practice a little bit late because of that, but even though that happens, I'm still able to keep doing it, and coach is really flexible with that stuff. Yeah.
And is it a case where when you have all of these responsibilities, there's some of us that, I know even a little bit to myself, not to the extent that you are, but you like being busy, but is that a case though where like you like having a day where most of your day is mapped out pretty routinely, I would think, or is it a case where you wouldn't mind maybe having a break here or there from time to time?
Yeah, I definitely would like a break here or there, but just, I guess, learn to like it. It's not something I really have a choice in. It's just something I have to do. And honestly, it's not that bad. It's just something that, you know, you develop over time. It's something you get better at. But yeah, for sure, it's something I enjoy. Well,
you've done an excellent job so far here at Shippensburg. You've won awards for your swimming. You've won awards for being in ROTC.
Thank you, sir.
You've done a heck of a job so far balancing all of it, and we applaud you for it. The very last thing I'll leave you with before I send you off is if there's someone out there that would be interested either at the high school level or at the collegiate level, if there's somebody that wants to maybe be interested in ROTC or potentially pursue it, what's an avenue that they might want to go to, or where's someone that they might want to reach out to if they want to find out more information?
Yeah, so I'll just use Shippensburg as an example. If you're at the high school here, or maybe you're looking to do the battalion here at Shippensburg, the cadre are great people to reach out to and ask about. Otherwise, if you're, say, in Colorado and have no idea what you want to do, then you can just look up on the website. It's just ROTC, Army, or Air Force, or Navy, and you can just see what choices align best for you. And in all honesty, I totally encourage that anyone, regardless of who they are or what they want to do, to pursue it and try just doing something new. One thing about ROTC is that unless you're contracted, there's no obligation to do any of it. So you can still go into it for a year and decide, hey, this really works for me, or hey, maybe I want to do something else. Just gives you an option of seeing what your choices are.
Better to try it than not in that case as well.
For sure.
So, Mason, thank you so much for talking with us this afternoon. I really appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after this with more of the Ship Sports Report. Back on the Ship Sports Report, and today we're taking a look and talking to a couple of Raider student athletes who are also in ROTC here on campus. And we are now joined by Josiah Leonard from the football team. Josiah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for having me.
I first, similarly to when we were talking with Mason, I first want to ask you a little bit of your journey to get to Shippensburg University. You have options, obviously, being recruited out of out of high school and where you're looking. What brought you ultimately here to Shippensburg?
So early on in my career, I didn't really know if I was going to get the opportunity to play football in college. Kind of funny how if I didn't end up playing football in college, I knew I wanted to go to college. I just didn't know how I was going to pay for it. So I always had the military in the back of my mind of maybe that's how I was going to pay for school. But towards the end of my career, I started getting more playing time, playing better, and colleges ended up reaching out to me. I did ROTC in high school, and I had a recruiter come in, a coach from Shippensburg. I was in my uniform for our interview. He was talking to me, and he was like, hey, we have, on top of your football scholarship, we have ROTC here that could apply for their scholarship and potentially get more money. So I applied for both. It was the only school that came to me that offered me both programs, so that's why I chose Shippensburg.
From a football standpoint, you've been playing obviously football for a good bit of your life.
Yeah.
More so than any other question, maybe, what is it about the sport of football that you enjoy the most, or just something that has kept you wanting to play that great game year in and year out?
The competitive aspect of the sport. I don't think there's any other sport in the world like football. You know, our coach always says it's the best sport you could ever play. But also the relationships you build, like my teammates going back to when I was 8, like still some of my best friends to this day, like high school, middle school, college, like these are people that are going to be with me the rest of my life. And it's what makes the sport fun. Football is a hard sport. You know, you're getting beat up every day, but it's the people that you're with that make it, you know, enjoyable.
And I imagine too that translates very well over to ROTC and you know, whatever group that you're with in that sense. You cherish those relationships probably just as much as football, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, similar. We're going through, you know, a lot of the same thing together. We're all going to be, hopefully, everybody will be future lieutenants in the Army after. So, you know, great people to be around.
What is it as a Ben Salem native? What is it, whether back in high school or if it even predates that? What is it that maybe started to get you into that direction of, you know, I might want to consider, you know, either something in the military or something to that effect of ROTC?
I think
if there was a specific thing.
As a kid, every child's like, oh, you know, like playing soldier or whatever is cool. And that's how I was as a little kid. But it wasn't really till I was in high school where I really wanted to join the military. I joined the ROTC program in high school because I spent some time at the Naval Academy, really fell in love with that. Had never really seen military like that before. So that's what kind of opened my eyes to it. And, you know, I just want to continue that in college. So.
Between ROTC and between that and football as well, a lot of structure, a lot of regimented routine. Are you someone that kind of thrives on having either a routine, a familiar routine, or you just really enjoy as well as a human being, like, I like the structure, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to try to make sure that I stick to that?
Yeah, I do like the structure. It keeps me busy. You know, today is one of my off days, and I found myself sitting around. I'm like, dang, like I have too much free time right now. So I definitely do like the structure. It keeps me busy, always doing something. I feel like I accomplished something at the end of the day. So that's what I really like.
And it's a heavy schedule, similar to how Mason said. You guys have to juggle a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like, at least from having talked with him and talking with you as well, that it's a manageable schedule. Like between your cadre, between your coaches, between your professors, everybody kind of works pretty well together, seemingly, when you've got to you've got to be in place A at time A, place B at time B, but they work well with you, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, the cadre and the ROTC department are, you know, they're always available for me to come in and talk to them. Hey, I'm not going to be there for this, or I need to go to football for this. Same with my coaches. They understand, you know, I have to go to ROTC today, won't be able to, you know, go to this meeting, or I might miss some practice time. So they understand the time commitment for both, and they both help me out with managing my time.
And you mentioned about how a lot of people in ROTC, it's their goal to potentially either be a lieutenant or you know, go into another area of the military. Do you have any specific future aspirations for the direction that you would like to go down the road?
Yeah, hopefully once I graduate and commission, I want to commission as an Army Medical Service Officer, just because I want to be able to use my degree. I'm an exercise science major, so I want to use that, you know, after the military, and hopefully during the military I can get a job in that field, and when I retire or leave, I can use that to get a medical job in the civilian world.
And if there is someone out there that is either curious about ROTC or is either thinking more strongly about considering it, is there any recommendations or advice that you would give to that individual out there as to whether they should or shouldn't pursue it, you think?
I think Mason said to it earlier, just, you know, look on the information on the ROTC website. I think a really good thing is just talk to cadets about it, because I mean that's the best information you can get is from somebody who's in the program. Like before I joined, I actually had the opportunity of a student who went to my high school that did Army ROTC at Drexel University. I talked to him, had a couple good conversations with him, and I was like, hey, this is something that I really want to do. And now he's a lieutenant in the Army, you know, doing his thing. So that'll be in my future in a few years. But just, yeah, got good information from him about it.
Awesome to hear. And kudos to you as well. You've worked hard in football. You're starting running back on the football team now. You're also obviously in ROTC. You're pursuing your degree. You're juggling it all more than very well. So kudos to you, Josiah, for all that you're doing. And thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Ship Sports Report. You can check out all of the latest on SU Athletics on our athletics website, www.shipraiders.com, for more information. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we hope you have a good one.